Smart 24, driving business.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we're here to do the Fat Talks, and we're live on Smart 24 TV, and we're also live on X-Space's Fat Talks. So please listen in. And today we have none other than Fiona Wall Navasa, Senior Counsel, and yours truly, Brian Kambaho Karogo. Today we get to talk about the interesting topic of corporate governance, the harbinger for business sustainability and growth. And for those that are joining us, we had Fiona tell us about her passion. Now that she's the CEO of the League of East African Directors, she really speaks like she's in charge of the entire East African business and all the boards across East Africa. And she told us about the evolution of corporate governance as we've known it, from a family business to companies that are now listed on the stock exchange. And just before we took the break, she was going to tell us more into how to choose a board member, how to even choose people that will protect your and look out for the corporate governance of the company. But before she digs in, as is the tradition here, Fiona, we like to have questions and engage our audience and those that are viewing us on TV. Could you tell us two truths, two lies, I think, and one truth? And then we get to choose. So there will be a poll on the Twitter, and I think it will also be posted on the various social media. So tell us something, and then we shall guess, is it true? Is it a lie? So you could have 3 sentences and choose one that is true and the other 2 that are false, or 2 that are true and 1 that is false.
Okay. So 1, I really love sparkling wine. It just makes me so happy, the bubbles. The second thing that I love is I love driving really fast. And I have zip-lined and kayaked and enjoyed this. I've zip-lined and kayaked. I don't know whether you call it kayaking or whatever, but and enjoyed it. So 3 things.
All right.
Yeah.
So Fiona here tells us that she loves sparkling wine, especially the bubbles, and that she loves driving really, really fast, and that she has done zip-lining and kayaking. So which of these is true? Which one is false? So let's get to hear our audience, and then at the end, we'll have a poll, or we'll have her confirm which one is true and which one is false.
Yeah.
So Fiona, back into our topic of the day, and I really love to have conversations with you because you're cool people, right? Is this one of the attributes for being a director, that you're lovable, or that you're easy to talk to, or that
Brian, what do you want from me?
I can trust that I will grow, and I know that whichever business you lay your hands on will grow. So tell us, how does the
qualities? You have to be fat. You have to be somebody of values.
Yes.
You have to have a track record of being faithful to those values, of walking your talk, because the company wants you to walk its talk. So you've got to have some experience in that. The company, I told you, corporate governance is all about trust. So they want to know that you're available, that you're not going to just, pay lip service to their work. So you have to be available. You have to have the time. And that's going to explain a bit of the other question you asked on how you get board members.
Yes.
And then lastly, you have to be teachable. You have to be somebody that is quick to learn, quick to grasp things, who's humble enough to admit when you're wrong. Because management is going to come to you with technical issues. I mean, I used to work in National Water and Sewage Corporation. So they can pick you to be a board director for National Water overnight. And then you sit there and the engineer comes and tells you you need culverts And if you are not willing to first sit down and really inquire what culverts are, you might make a really, really bad
They'll
decision.
tell you that the dam has broken.
Yeah. So you have to be very teachable and quick on your feet. And
Yes.
that's why I think fat people, not fat people biologically, but I mean faithful, available, teachable people are fantastic candidates. And going to where do people find people to make board directors? In the past, they used to make people that had a stake, maybe a faithful worker, maybe a former shareholder or a founding member or somebody. They would put them on the board, and they were good stewards, because corporate governance is all about stewardship. But as companies grew bigger and more numerous, you find that these people are fewer and fewer, and most of them are dying out anyway. But you also find that in that generation where people do what they want, not necessarily what they are guided to do by their very despotic parents, like some of us were, people are at liberty to even say, I can own shares, but I have no interest in that company. They don't even want to sit on the board. So because of that, there is actually a shortage of good board directors. In Uganda, some banks are being told, your board director is on 5 boards. You cannot be on 5 boards.
Yes, I think there was actually an issue of female directors.
There's a crisis.
There's a crisis.
So that is why the League of East African Directors started 7 years ago. They realized that there was a crisis of directors. We had the same people on many, many boards. They were burdened. They were, some of them were even dying of stress because of board work. Yet, they're not even paid for this work. We've had some serious senior directors. So the first thing the League of East African Directors said was, no, let's start training directors. Let's start creating an avenue where the senior directors can now train younger directors, can train willing, faithful, available, teachable people to get into this area of governance, of stewardship. That it's not enough to be an MD of an organization. Get on a board of another one also and lend to that organization your expertise. So we started doing these trainings and in form of a convention. There's an annual convention where we come and get together and talk about topical issues in governance. But we also have a lot of, like right now we're running a lecture series. Just tomorrow at 8 a.m., there'll be a special training for lead members, and it will be by Dr. Tom Buringriza. He's faculty at Strathmore Business School
in Nairobi.
But he's also the board chair of Citibank Uganda, and he's an experienced CEO in the oil and gas sector, and he has over 40 years of executive experience. So he's very, very well qualified for what he's doing. So we have these trainings. We have an ESG training that is going to happen. This one will be for the public, for everybody who wants to do it, on the 15th of February. So we have a lot of courses that are going on just to empower directors. The second thing we do is we also empower committees of directors. We have a special program, for instance, for the audit and risk committees. We also have a special program now for ESG, and we're creating a special program for what to look out for on your board in 2024, which is part of what...
Which is what I actually wanted you to talk into, at least one small highlight about it before, without preempting the discussion that will be happening.
Well, the exciting thing is we've gotten a series of topics that we're going to get expert board directors to lecture our members on how to prepare. I mean, there's so many disruptors right now that people have to prepare for. We saw what happened with an AI firing a whole board. Anyway, I don't know whether that is what happened, but we saw what happened. The risks of technology, the risks of board capture. I mean, Elon Musk, this shows that he's stronger than his board. I mean, he's driving them. Who's in charge here?
By the time the board can give him
these
billions.
are the questions, because CEOs, sometimes because of the way they're paid and the path they have, become much more powerful sometimes than the board directors. How do you handle that in the boardroom? How do you handle the dynamics of conflict of interest? These days, people are on so many boards. How many is too many, So these are some of the things we're going to discuss. And these are some of the things we discussed. The other thing that the League of East African Directors does is it recruits, trains board directors for organizations. So where are you looking for board directors? Come to us. We have
The
levels.
League of East African Directors.
We have young directors, in entry-level directors. We have very senior directors. We have different pedigrees of directors.
So how do I
that you
apply?
can pick
Can I also sign up today to be trained to
Yes,
sit into a
we
director
have
role?
a very special program called the Ready to Lead program, and we'll provide information later.
Yes.
But that's a good program. But there's so many other programs with other institutions on corporate governance that you need to take. But what I also wanted to say is, where else can you find directors? Because of the shortage, institutions like ours are training, and we're evaluating boards. We're also trying to keep boards in the know of what's current. So these are some of the work that LEAD does. But I want to come away from what LEAD does
Yes.
to where do you get directors?
Because you also mentioned-
the director pool is where management is. But you need people who have been tested in integrity. I think integrity is the first thing you want in a director. I think the second thing you want in a director is a respect and knowledge of the law. And I'm not saying please pick lawyers. There are many lawyers who have a disrespect
For the law.
of the law. Yes. So you need to pick somebody that has that. And lastly, you need to pick somebody that is respected and has a reputation that you are proud to associate with your organization. So
But I
once
guess
you
it also
get somebody like this, then you have to continually train them and equip them to be at the top of their game, because your institution might be in a different sector than they're practicing in. That's okay.
Correct.
But we are asking that you equip them to be good enough to make decisions in that sector.
I was also going to
Most
add,
institutions don't want to invest in training board directors, but you need to equip your head. Otherwise, your feet won't know where they're going.
I know. You spoke of choosing people that are of repute or
Stewards, yeah.
or good stewards. And I guess it also goes without say that for them to say a yes to you is that you should carry yourself with some good structures and stewardship, or some good principles, or some good integrity as a company. So if the company is being known for the worst things,
nobody will want to associate with
then it's
it.
going to be difficult to attract some of the best talent in the market. So Fiona, and I know that we really
another thing,
could speak the whole day.
If you're the kind of organization that wants the board directors to rubber stamp your decisions, you will not attract good board directors. You will attract rubber stamps and they'll add absolutely no value, and corporate governance will just be a suggestion in your board. So that's also something to remember.
I wanted you to tell us about the East African Business Council,
Yes.
where you sit as a director. And this is more in the regional, and people are looking towards more and more regional presence, regional influence.
Yeah.
Directors across the country, directors in other companies across the region.
Yeah.
How is that experience, or what could you say about that?
Yes, you find that the directors that we have right now, a lot of institutions are looking to expand, and they're looking for market for their produce, or they're looking for increased access to markets. Now, because of this, you find that there's the question of capacity, and the best way to deal with issues of capacity, issues of cross-border issues. I mean, our attorneys generals haven't signed like the mutual recognition agreement, so you cannot just walk into any country and practice law sometimes. So that means that there is need for mergers and acquisitions. There's need for partnering, finding a big brother out there who's going to get you into the market that you need. I mean, you have great GNAT, but you don't have a GNAT this Haska or whatever it is. But maybe your neighbor has one, but your neighbor is in Kenya and you have to cross a border. Now, when you cross the border into Kenya, there's the Kenya Revenue Authority, there are those laws, there are those standards. So because of that, the East African community exists to create a harmonious environment. That's why they're trying to harmonize all their laws and their regulations and the trade protocols. But you'll find that if we, for instance, we Ugandan businessmen, if we're not ready to meet the standards of the international market, we're going to fail. One of the standards is governance. If we're not ready to meet the quality levels of our produce, it will not sell. So we have to up our game, and corporate governance is one huge way of upping your game. Now, once we start upping our game, we actually start attracting investors. There are incubators, Stanbic has an incubator. The Japanese, JICA, I think they have an incubator.
Yes.
And what they do is they'll teach you business. They'll find a business that's working, teach you all these things, corporate governance, all these things, and equip you and get you angel investors, because nobody's going to put capital in you or trust you or put their name on you unless you're already prepared. The sad thing is nobody's going to invest in preparing you. So government has some projects. That's why private sector organizations like the East African Business Council exist. The East African Business Council has created something called Isoko, which is an online platform for people to find each other for business matchmaking.
Nice.
I have GNAT, you have a DHASCA, please. I don't know whether a DHASCA exists, by the way. I'm just playing with this whole GNAT thing.
We understand.
GNAT means groundnuts or peanuts. Yes. So just allow me to use that example, a very basic where agriculture is concerned. But if the Isoko platform, you can look it up, and it helps you matchmake businesses. And as you're matchmaking, you find people that are interested in your produce or interested in investing in the country and making you a partner. The oil and gas, as we increasingly also talk about local content, the oil and gas sector, I think they're trying to promote local content. So there are certain areas that you cannot enter into this market as a foreigner without partnering with a local company. Now, if you know you're working in the oil and gas sector, your governance had better be up to point, because there's so many people that are going to come here looking for companies to merge with that need to find your papers ready, your systems ready to go, so they can plant capital and do business. The East African crude oil pipeline is one opportunity. We have this big dream that Kwame Nkrumah had of the CFTA, which is the Continental Free Trade Area. And that dream is failing because some countries are less ready than others. Some countries are less willing than others. But also some business people are less willing than others. But at the end of the day, we all lose. So the East African Business Council is that private sector body that exists to negotiate with the politicians, to beg them that, don't let politics interfere with our trade relations. When there is trade blocks, you've seen blockages that are created by trade bans, that are created by maybe, we call them non-tariff barriers.
Yes.
Like Kenya refuses our sugar, or they're doing protectionism. We have now a Competition Law Act, and I'm proud to say that Fidelis Leadership Institute is actually training people in competition law, businesses, and even professionals like lawyers and accountants, because competition law is antitrust law. How do the big companies behave in the small markets? Are they being leeches, or are they practicing ESG, or are they being stewards? Are they growing the society and communities in which they're working? So there's increased scrutiny on companies like Total. That's why you had the Stop ECOP thing. So they want these companies to make practices that make sure that where they're eating from, they're also planting. So that's, in a big way, I think it's corporate governance just growing and growing and morphing into bigger things. And I'm proud to be a part of that at the East African Business Council.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's really exciting, what has been happening. Now I know that our time is really running, and we actually may need a part B for this session to go on. But maybe if you want to, as we wrap up for our guests, we had 3 questions. And you told us that you really love sparkling wine, you really love driving fast, and that you have ziplined or kayaked.
And kayaked.
Which one is the truth? Which one is the lie? I think
Can we see? Oh, nobody.
I was trying to log in and then
Okay.
I'm having
It's
some
okay.
issues here with logging in. But if I were to guess, I think you're not a fan of fast driving. If you are, then I would be shocked. So I think that one is the lie.
Yeah.
I think you have zip-lined. Have you? Oh, I don't know. I'm guessing. Why don't you just tell us which one is
Make
the
your
truth?
conclusion. Which one is the lie? Which one is the truth?
I think you love sparkling wine.
Yeah.
I think you have zip-lined and kayaked. I don't think you love driving fast.
Ah, okay.
Am I
So, you're
accurate? I am wrong.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I don't take any alcohol. I'm a teetotaler.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And I have ziplined and kayaked and loved it. And I totally drive fast and I love it.
All right. We shall.
Don't report me to the traffic.
No. We shall make sure we look out for
I'm
you.
compliant.
But once again, it's been a real pleasure to have you, Fiona.
Yeah.
For those that do not know, she is the founder of this very FAT Talks, the Fidelis Leadership Institute. And as you've heard, they're now taking part in bigger and better things.
And we thank Smart24.
Like antitrust law. Yes, we thank
hosting us.
Smart24 once again for hosting us.
Yeah.
It has also been a privilege. If I have a take home for our listeners and the viewers, it is that we should really run our lives in a corporate governance or governance way. We should have non-executive directors in our private lives, in our businesses. I'd be curious to know if law firms have non-executive directors
Good question.
that hold them
That's
accountable.
the $1 million question.
But Fiona,
But I
maybe I'll
wanted to
give you
just say something about
I'll give you 1 minute to wrap up. If you really want us to forget everything except this one thing, what would you say?
I would say integrity is that. Should I say?
Is the currency to
It's the
sustainability.
currency to sustainability. And the integrity of any business will depend on the level of stewardship that it has at the top. So that matters. So your business, what does its head look like? You need to be very honest with yourself about that. But I wanted to say thank you. You've been a fantastic host.
Oh, thank you.
I must also boast about you
Obrigado.
because you're an alumni.
Oh yes, I'm a fat
The
fellow.
FAT
I am
fellowship.
faithful, I'm available, and I am
And
teachable.
I think you're displaying those qualities. But also, just to encourage people out there, board directors don't have to be old. So, Brian, you qualify to be a board director. So, train now. Don't wait to be appointed. And
Be
then
50.
you fall into things. Just management and the board are actually growing younger and younger. And we don't need somebody who's 50 governing a tech company. I mean, Elon Musk, started in his, but you've seen what's happening with Facebook, with everything. It's young people. Now,
Yes.
a young CEO will not respect a very, very old person who's divorced from the realities of technology. So we need increasingly young directors. We need women directors. We need directors that come from different, it used to be traditional lawyers, accountants, but now we need people that come from different aspects of life. We need entrepreneurs as directors because they bring the risk aspect and they help us take those Harbinger-like steps, in business. And lastly, as I finish, now I'm really finishing,
Yes.
is just if you want to grow your stewardship, increase your faithfulness and availability, the FAT Leadership Fellowship, of which Brian is a fellow, will start on 3rd March, and we will be really glad to have you. You'll find the details on our website of the Fidelis Leadership Institute.
Thank you very much, Madam President. I like to call her Madam President because she was past President, Uganda Law Society.
Thank you.
Well, it's been Brian Kambaho, Associate Partner at Acadia Advocates. It's been a pleasure. There'll be a recording on our social media. Please do share, please do like, give us your comments, and look out for the next topic. It happens every Thursday. We'll be here 4 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Good day.